that one to YouTube. But hey everyone, I'm PM Master and this is
I'm J20.
And we're going to tell you about Dungeon Defenders 2 today. Yeah. We actually have a really exciting stream planned. Probably most exciting thing that besides our beautiful faces and his awesome shirt is that in the corner today you're going to see Rusty drawing a piece of Betsy-themed loot.
Yes, Betsy-themed.
Now what is Betsy?
What is Betsy? It's like a philosophical question.
It is.
If I were Betsy, what would I be?
What would you be if you were Betsy?
Well, I would be modeled and animated.
That is true. So that's what some people on the forums have deduced, is that Betsy is modeled and animated, also rigged, and has a name.
Yes.
It's a female name.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's related to anything, but it also has loot associated with it.
Yes.
So now you have a bunch of things. So you're going to see kind of what this loot is, and you might actually get an idea for what Betsy is.
Could.
Based on this loot if you pay close attention.
We should have like a point system. You're like, cool.
Whoever
points.
gets close enough in the comments, right?
Yeah.
So if you guys want to guess what Betsy is in the comments, I don't know if we'll congratulate the person who's right, but we might comment on it.
That'd be awesome. That'd be great.
Yeah, if you get it exactly right.
Yes, exactly right.
Exactly to the T, then we'll congratulate you.
I'm expecting scrolling, but I'm not seeing anything out of the corner of my eye here.
I see some stuff. I see some wrong
okay.
answers.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, cool. So what else are we doing today besides showing you a piece of loot themed around this mysterious thing that's known as Betsy?
Yes.
We are continuing our hard mode playthrough.
Yep.
We're on level 3 now. So we made it one level.
Yay!
Last stream in the last hour. I Passed Butter and I Am Isom are playing together. So we're going to see if they can beat it this time. Do you have any strategy tips for this level for them?
Oh, I was trying to think. Last time I remember we were trying to get overlapping fire the last time we were talking about it and maximizing that stuff. But what's going to be really interesting here is when we're looking at the sub-objective, whether or not they can defend it. Because that opens up, not only if you fail do you open up another lane, it creates another build location that you have to take care of.
Yeah.
So
unless they're like super turtling.
Yeah. And this is usually where the javelin throwers come down. And javelin throwers on this map in that specific lane are pretty nasty. So,
yeah, they like to just hang out inside the door.
Yeah.
It's their favorite spot. I always put not on hard mode. I haven't beaten this one on hard mode yet, but put the next proximity mine under them in normal. Yeah. Just to laugh.
I think I did I think when I played through last time on this one, I built up the defenses over there. I just did a cascading cannonball, so just like cannonball army, and then right around here on the right around the cart, and the old grumpy guy, he's awesome. I built another cannonball.
He's a defense, right? He scares them away.
He scares them away.
If only. No, so Josh was saying that he actually thought that they beat this level last time, but they didn't. They got close to beating it. So they're going to beat it this time so everyone can see
there we go.
that they actually beat it. And
is there
then
a monk?
Move on to sewers, which would be really interesting to see. I think Josh is playing the monk, actually.
I think a good trick for this one would be to have like the standard, like put the monk aura and the traps right like where the range guys would sit. That would probably be the best way to beat this one. And kind of ignore the at least for actually I don't even know what the lane types are. I can't see it. I don't know what the billboards are. What do we got? I can't.
It's physical on the right, physical resist, magic resist, and then what's the left lane? Magic resist.
Okay. Well, that's good. That'll actually be really good for the top lane, the top of the market. That'll be real nice with your squire build up there, so you'll be able to. Oh no.
So Mini Shadow is right. Betsy is a thing that will be implemented into the game.
That's right. That's right.
That's a true statement.
Yay! You got a trendy point.
Yeah,
yay! 1 TP.
Other true statements. Like
yes, we should
collect
log
all
those. Yeah, like put them on the forum or something like
so
that.
So Josh, save all of the comments about Betsy that are true.
Yes, you get 1 trendy point per true unique.
Yes,
unique
That's
undiscovered
true.
comment.
All right, so cool. So today we're not just playing hard mode. We're not just showing loot based off of Betsy, but we're also revealing a couple cool, interesting things, and we're actually going to be using these dev streams as the avenue to kind of reveal information about the patch that's coming out. So from now on, every week when you come on the dev stream, we're going to get another cool reveal. We're going to have different designers here this week we're going to tell you about stuff. Next week we're actually going to start to show you stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be really exciting. So make sure to save your 5 p.m.
for
Eastern time or wherever you are on Fridays to come watch and ask us questions, because this will be your chance to really learn first about what's going in the patch and ask us questions and influence those things.
Yes, you'll get exclusive trendy bragging rights.
You will. So the first thing that we want to reveal for today is actually an upcoming change that we're making in the next hotfix that's coming out. So you want to take it away?
Can you refresh my memory a little bit? Which one? Because there's so many. Like I'm just trying to figure out which one specifically. The tip one. Yes. Yeah, so this one is so this is kind of like one of those features that was like partially implemented, and we were kind of experimenting with different times and stuff like that. So what we've done is, what we've noticed is that the tib is kind of becoming this infinite slot, and it's kind of really devaluing items that are dropping in the game. And so we think that items are super important. And
how does it devalue the items? Is it just because you can
just have infinite. So like you're not really thinking about because the tib is basically an infinite.
Yeah. So people are basically just picking up items and never looking at them and stuff.
Yes, and so so what we've done is we've reduced the time that an item can live in the tip, and so it's got a 3-hour. It's basically got a 3-hour window. So it was like for me, it was like 48, and it's a really big change. But what we're really hoping to do with this is that players will engage with the items that drop, and then determine what they want to do with them. Like, do they want to equip them, sell them?
So the idea is kind of like before, people were just collecting items over 2 days worth of time.
Right.
And then they wouldn't want to look at them because they have so many items already collected. So the idea is now, instead it's like every 3 matches, you need to kind of look at your items and decide what you want to keep and not keep.
So this had like the downstream effects of the former implementation where like you could have this infinite bag, lots of items in there. It was difficult to manage. Like pretty much the only thing you could, like, it was hard to find specific things. So by reducing that time, we're reducing the overall number of items in the tib. And then
the second... Oh, he's got to go to the bathroom.
Never mind.
And then, so then the other aspect is that we really like the interactions with items. We're really going to be expanding more of what we call the economy of items down the road, and so we really want to prepare players for thinking about what they are. There's going to be some enhancements to the item enhancement system and all that kind of stuff. And so what we're doing now is that we're not auto-selling things from the tib.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it's kind of like this.
This.
So right now, if the timer runs out on an item in your tib, it will be destroyed.
Okay. So basically, you have to click the sell all button if you want to sell the items.
Yes.
In there.
Yeah, and we think that's it's a good flow. We think it's a really good habit to get into, because eventually those items, and even a little bit now with item enhancement, by feeding your items to other items, you're still gaining that power. And so there's a nice economy, there's a nice thought there, and the later enhancements will mean like higher tiers, like legendaries going into legendaries will be more meaningful and other kinds like that.
So the pattern before was basically get a bunch of items and then do nothing, and they'll actually sell themselves.
Right.
And the pattern now is get some items, look through them, sell the items.
Yes.
Get some items, look through them, sell the items.
And we're kind of figuring that, like, basically our goal, specifically with the time, as you mentioned, was, most players, like a lot of players in a session, they'll play for an hour or 2 a day, right? And so that's kind of like the average game length. And so the idea being, you play, you collect stuff, you have items in your tib. It's the end of the session. It's like after your second or third match, you're like, okay, well, I'm about to log off. Let me go back to the tavern, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what I need to do at this point. There's some other reveals that are happening later on this milestone that'll really reinforce going back to the tavern, and I know that's going to be something that we can address later on.
So we do have one question here, which is from, sorry, the name is I know this is what Josh hates. Now I lost the name. I apologize, Josh. That's why I didn't need the tablet. Okay, but the question was, what happens if we're doing something like an endless survival mode or something, and that extends past the 3-hour time, which with the tib fills?
The cool thing is that you can interact with the tib from the forge, and so what it might mean is that you might have to pause during the rounds, and so we're sort of aware of that, and we're going to definitely collect feedback based on once we get onslaught, like in the survival mode.
So basically, don't worry about it. The pattern that we want to try to encourage is play, manage your inventory, play, manage your inventory, with the tib being a nice overflow spot, just so you never get to the point where you lost an item.
Yes. And I think that the other thing to take note of is that by the end of MS14, it won't just be items that you're picking up. And so that's as much as I'll say there.
And I want to clarify one thing. I think Craith, thank you, already clarified it in the comments, but we're not removing the sell all button. The sell all button is certainly there in the tib.
Absolutely.
It's just now something that you have to click as opposed to it auto selling
Yes.
when it emptied. So the idea is that the tib is a convenience thing,
Yeah.
so that you don't have to worry about managing your inventory within a particular match. You can focus on beating the match,
Right.
but you will still have to manage your inventory. Hopefully that will
Yes.
keep people's inventories down in size and make it
Yes.
more fun to interact with your inventory.
Absolutely, and we think that's the key thing. You know, we really want to make. You know, we've been kind of noticing, get some feedback that items are less meaningful, they're just kind of dropping, and we think that that's directly related to some of the interactions with the tip system. So it's obviously like it's a very interesting dynamic that we kind of created, and we're trying to address that.
Cool. Bunny Cake says that he's too drunk to understand what we're saying.
Oh no!
Oh no.
Well, it's Friday, and it is 5
weird.
o'clock somewhere.
It is 5 o'clock on a Friday. I have hash butter is the only one drinking.
So
apparently not, actually. Just kidding, unfortunately.
Well, the TIB, in case, because we've been throwing around that acronym, that's a temporary item bag. And so the way that, just as a kind of a refresh on what the TIB does is, if your current bags are full, any item that gets picked up, whether manually or at the end of a match, gets added into your TIB, and you can interact with it after that.
Okay. Perfect. So now I don't think we'll do the next. We'll save the next reveal for when Steven comes on.
that'd be
Okay.
good.
We'll save the next reveal for when Steven comes on, but we do want to discuss influence. So we have an influence vote up. We talked about it. We talked about it last week. Do you want to kind of give an update on the influence vote? Maybe some threads that you responded to, that sort of stuff.
Sure. So I've responded, I think, once in the actual report, and we kind of noticed it like. The responses were getting kind of lost, and so we kind of started to track some of the forum posts. And the one specifically I wanted to address was there were some concerns on the languaging on the mercenary. The languaging, and so like it's like like we try to not like we're trying to be as specific and as flexible as possible with the languaging and without inciting rage or anything like that. And so specifically for the clarity. One of the points for mercenary was when you make your choice in mercenary, the intent is that every round that a chest drops, that you will get the chest type, and the rewards that come out of that chest will match your choice. So if, for instance, and the number of reward types that you can choose in this example is not definitive, but for our example, let's say there's 3 options, that you have a weapon, an armor, and an egg. And those are the 3 choices for mercenaries that you can choose. If you pick weapon, every round you will get a weapon chest, and you will always get a weapon out of that chest. The quality of that, tier and all that other kind of stuff will be influenced by the number of rounds you completed, but the type of reward is always going to be a weapon. If it's
it may not be the weapon you want.
Yes, it may not be the weapon,
but it will be a weapon.
Yes.
Okay.
And so there's some interesting things we can do where we can target specific rounds for specific rewards, and there's some other interesting.
So like there might be weapons that only drop in endless survival. So if you pick weapons, then you have a chance of getting those weapons. You might not get those weapons. You might get a normal weapon, but you could also get that weapon.
Absolutely, and that's totally correct. We definitely want to kind of like for instance, the current incursion maps drop the existing legendary weapons, and so our next set of incursions will have a different set of legendary weapons.
Okay, cool, perfect. All right, so I think hopefully that clarifies for the mercenary part of it for everyone.
Yep.
And then was the expeditionary? Did people understand that part?
I think so. Like most of the responses have been pretty spot on with the intent, and then. We'll kind of go from there. So the expeditionary is where you have a choice every round, and then and that choice is a little bit more randomized.
Oh man, I love it. Everyone's doing hashtag the one they want in this.
That's awesome.
Please do that.
That's great.
Teamwork. See that. Yeah, I've been told that I'm not allowed to say which one I like the best because it influences people.
We definitely try not to be biased.
But you can find out by looking at the devlog.
I do know. I do know, however, that the vote has been, every time I look, it's always close. I think the last time I looked today, it was within 14 points, and I believe it was in favor of expeditionary. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's the end of the week, right? It's Friday. Butter shaking his head. He's like, oh, Jay, how could you let that happen? But that's super exciting for us. And not only that, I think we're looking at a factor of 3, 3 times as many votes total as any other vote that we've done. And so it's very apparent that people very much care about what we're doing here.
So I think this is really exciting for us, and we want to thank everyone who is participating in the influence vote this time. And I think that, you know, regardless of which side wins, it's really nice to have the community participate in, you know, the creation of the game in this way. And I think that this has kind of shown us that we're going to take maybe more risks in the future in terms of putting other votes and ideas out to you guys, because we really like the kind of healthy debate and the way people have been dissecting it. I think you'll always have to make some room for game design decisions are difficult to discuss. Not even internally is it's difficult enough. Externally is even more difficult. So there will always probably be this process of us saying, this is what the thing is, and then everyone asking questions like, oh, we don't understand. That's the same stuff we do in our meetings when we get in a meeting with 6 people, and Jay's like, I have this idea, and everyone's like, each person asks a different question. He's like, what? I thought you all understood what I meant. So I think it's really great to see that kind of from you guys and from our community. I know a bunch of you have some questions about the TIB. I am not avoiding them much into our conversation. So I'm going to try to get to some of them before Jay leaves. I think that they have some concerns about, let's say people pick the mercenary option. And this is from Batophobia. They pick the mercenary option, so people are choosing that they want the convenience of time. The question is, well, what if people are managing their inventory during like a build phase, and so now they've lost the time?
So we're getting a little bit into the specifics there, and so I know that in the prototypes we've been experimenting with different ways to do the build time, and so let me see. So if a TIB items, we'll have to catch that again. So our current ideal is that when you start a session, that your TIB should be empty. So that's sort of the current ideal, and the timing kind of bases that. So like if you leave stuff in your TIB overnight, when you come back in the morning, it should be empty. So if you start Onslaught, you know, with an empty TIB, you should be able to interact with anything that drops, and then would go to your TIB before the timer runs out. If that makes sense. Also, the other thing we can do as well is that once we make this change, we can also address like some drop rates and other kinds. There's a ton of tuning knobs. If we see, and if the reaction is very negative and too much stuff is getting destroyed from the TIB, we can always increase that value. We can always take a look at the interactions. If Onslaught mode ends up going beyond a 3-hour session, which is quite a long session.
Well, they're used to DD1. It's 12 hours.
Oh, is it 12 hours?
So survival, I think.
I don't think I ever survived that long in survival. But we'll definitely see where it goes, like as far as the overall length of time. But because I don't want to disappoint anybody with Onslaught, because Onslaught's going to be really amazing. But in essence, what I'm trying to communicate very poorly is that if we need to, we will expand it and we'll take care of you guys. We definitely don't want you guys to be super frustrated with the way that the TIB works.
So I hope that answered your question. That was a fantastic question. And I think, you know, really with anything, as we're trying to open up the development process more to you guys, it's always going to be the question, if we give you 2 choices, why not C or D or E or F? And so, you know, there are lots of, this is like a creative medium. There are always lots of things. There are lots of knobs that we can turn. So a lot of times the realm that we try to engage in conversation is more in meaning instead of in execution. So I think that, you know, the meaning of the TIB is so that, correct me if I'm wrong, people will use their inventory more and use their actual inventory space instead of just letting it autofill and sell for gold.
That is.
Now, if this change with the exact numbers doesn't do that, then expect that we will attempt to make more changes in order to make it so that people are interacting with their inventory. And we don't want that interaction to take time or inconvenience people away from in the actual game. The intent is that when you go back to the tavern, you can manage your inventory and then go back into a game. So if we need to change other stuff to do that, we certainly will. Perfect. Okay, so there's lots of comments.
There's lots. Here we go.
I love this. I'm glad there's such discussions. So really, thank you guys. I think this is one of the best crowds of comments so far. So maybe it's some of the information we're putting out is really encouraging you guys to talk. This one's from Kitten Demon, who wrote, and this is about the influence vote again. I suggest we combine them. Like, so you select the item type you want, and instead of a 100% chance item, you instead get a bigger increase to the item showing up and the 3 to 4 item drops per round. This way it makes both sides happy, and instead of having items picked per 5 waves, why not just at the end of a match when the crystal dies? So you select 3 item groups when you make it to wave 15.
You know, I think that as far as not on the specific content, but as far as the way that the influence vote is structured, is that usually when there's a binary choice, it becomes that choice becomes a little bit more meaningful, and so it kind of creates a dialogue that we've definitely seen in the current system. It doesn't mean necessarily that future follow-up votes might not occur. So, for instance, we might see that we have one choice, and then we develop, based on what we're seeing or based on community reaction to the winner, we can develop further influence votes. But this might also open up an opportunity to have a different kind of vote, something a little bit more freeform. You know, and that's sort of something like, as far as the system goes, how we would sort of evolve the system in the future. However, for the current vote, one of the things that we really do care about is that you guys trust us, and that you can, and that when we're communicating to you and we're putting these influence votes in front of you guys, that you take us at our word and that we implement those and put them in. And so if we were to, at this point, like a week into the influence votes, like determine that, hey, there's this other option that we hadn't thought of, we feel like that would create a little bit of distrust, as people have already kind of committed and already kind of cast their vote. That's saying like, hey, you know, we actually like a combination of these two. And so maybe if dynamically that were to happen, or some sort of open ballot kind of system, who knows? But I think that what we're trying
could be an interesting way to do it in the future, or some improvements to the system.
Yes.
And I think actually I think Jay's hitting on a really good point, which is that you know, these are questions that we're bringing to you, where we're basically saying, do you want A or B? Because we've gotten to a point in development where we're like, do you want A and B? And that's how the system works right now. We could change the system to work differently in the future. It's not a system where we're like, hey, we want to do this thing, you guys come up with the idea of how to do it. I mean, it would be cool if we did something like that in the future. And it's also not a system that right now allows for more than 2 choices. So I think that you know, we're bringing you binary choices, but in the future we might bring you more, and we are not at all discounting other ideas. I think it's another important thing is this happens in development all the time. Is like, just so you know how game development works, the designers, they have an idea due by Friday, right? And so they say, okay, well, this is what it's going to be, and they may have a better idea in 2 weeks, but that idea is already being implemented, and that idea is basically carried through by the programmers and the artists and stuff, because they needed to finish on Friday so they could work on it. So I think you guys are experiencing that same thing as us, where we're like, oh, well, we should have just done it this way, and it's like, okay, well, we needed to kind of get it started, so that's why we did it that way. So,
and the truth be told as well, we think a lot of there's a phenomenon that when an idea is cast in the way that we think creatively, is that one idea leads to the next idea, and that's sort of like a physiology thing. Like, that's how we're kind of built. And so I think that, like, it's natural to see 2 options and say, oh, well, you know, here's a natural evolution to that idea, and we love that stuff. And maybe for another game mode, maybe for another reward type, we can kind of incorporate some of the other ideas. Because believe me, we comb and we grab the good ideas, and we're like, hey, this is something cool. Let's put this in a tool belt. It's a neat little thing that I do.
Exactly. So we still have. Oh man, they're about to beat it on hard.
There we go.
It's perfect. Maybe we'll get through 2 maps today. I passed Butters. Shakes his head. So we have a bunch more comments from the thread about the tip. So thank you guys. I think that some of them were that, you know, 3 hours might be a little too short, and I think that was our answer, that, you know, we're going to tweak. That's what we're trying now, but we might try something different. We had one question, which was, what if I'm trying to, like, hoard mythical items to upgrade my weapon that they can't anymore? Sure.
So I guess at that point it would be the max you can enhance right now is 5, and so, you know, we're dropping around, I think, at the top end, like anywhere from like 20 to 30 items, and like that's kind of subject to variability. Congratulations on the victory. Man. There we go.
So 20 to 30 items in how long?
About 1 session, so about 20 minutes. So you should totally still be able to, within the 3-hour window, grab like a whole bunch of mythical items. You might not be able to fully enhance, like if that's a pattern that exists right now, like fully enhancing an item from like start to finish, but within a session you should definitely be able to see progress.
Oh man, this is the second time.
Wow, look at you, buddy.
It's not gonna. Yeah.
RNGesus.
Here we go. Here we go. And reveal.
Yeah. Let's see what you got. Oh,
That's probably pretty good. What does it do? Restores 26.5 health and
Nice.
1.8% increase in Earth Shatter
cards. Don't have that yet, but it's not gonna.
It's good
specs,
stuff.
by the way.
Yeah.
Specs that you don't have yet.
I noticed it twice. And,
Yeah.
Yep.
Just on the screen.
Yep.
Get that written down somewhere.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we should also get a bigger monitor, a closer one, so you don't have to lean.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I'll think about that
Absolutely.
for the stream.
Or at least get the
This
pad
has
in
been
there.
brought to our attention.
The iPad. So I hope that answers your questions about hoarding items to be able to enhance. We do recognize that overall, like the iteration and kind of the turnaround and the loop there might be shortened, but we think that it'll be a little bit more rewarding.
Mhm.
So like every session or every 2 sessions, you'll earn enough, and then you'll kind of do a little enhancement set. Rather than I'm not sure what the pattern is right now, but I would imagine you're probably doing like, well, I'm going to get 100 mythicals, and then I'm just going to sit here and upgrade one. And so like it might be a little bit nice to it might be a more interesting experience to have that loop happen more frequently.
And I think we had another comment here, which I think hits home too. They said, well, what about, why don't you create a salvage bag that we could just put stuff into and it sells for you? And I think, to answer that one, the thing is like, well, then just sell items.
Right.
Instead of putting them in the bag. And so that's kind of the purpose of this, is that you literally have this bag, you could pick out the stuff you like, and everything you don't like, you can just hit sell on sell.
Yeah, I think as well, we're trying to reduce the number of sources, like a number of resources that you have to collect in the game to be able to interact with the varying systems. And we feel like it's very tight iteration and a tight loop when you have one thing that you collect, and there's a bunch of things you can do with that one thing. So the big example there being inventory items, where inventory items you equip, it's got special stats and some other things, and then you grab other items, you can feed them into that item. You can sell them for gold, and there's a couple of things that gold can do. It's super intricate, right? Like if we did the flow chart of how it all works out, like that might be an interesting Devstream
that would be great to show
later on. But we really like it when those economies, as we kind of call them, are kind of a bit tighter. So rather than doing like the salvage, while the salvage thing might be interesting, it's also interesting to have items collecting specifically, and also if you salvage, the tier of the salvage might not necessarily matter. And so I'm getting a little bit of, I'm starting to get into the details of further item enhancement, and I don't want to give it away too much.
Perfect. So we have, I think, a couple questions before
Sure.
we go today.
So we have one question from Cariel. They say that they've been trying to figure out what AP affects. Is it just mana? Does it affect anything regarding damage? I've been wondering this for a while, and I'm bad at searching the forums, so if you can answer.
Sure. AP right now mainly affects damage, ability damage. AP also affects the duration of non-damaging abilities. So for instance, the Squire's Taunt has a multiplier on the amount of AP you have that will increase the duration of the taunt effect. We are, with the revamps, so Foundation 2 kind of brought ability power levels up to where like hero damage and sort of some defense power levels were. And so with the revamps, we will probably do we will likely do more interesting things with the different stats on a per hero basis.
Perfect. So we have one more question from the comments that I want to get answered before you go. And then Steven's going to come on, so just 1 second, talking to him through the window. This is a question from Batophobia, which is, why not bring back the sell everything on the ground between waves?
That was
from DD1.
DD1. Nothing is off the table, and we will. We've actually had a conversation very similar to this, and it's sort of it is tracked. Like we've actually, it's in our community feedback threads internally, where we discuss. We basically like comb through the forums and we grab out all like the high focus threads and stuff like that, and we know that is something that is there. That literally is kind of one of those victims of scope kind of thing.
Yeah,
things.
So it's like that also might create a problem with people who don't know that's going to happen, that they didn't pick up something and it sells it. So I think a lot of things, everyone's coming up with good ideas, and we're all trying to solve the same the same thing, and we'll see. It's also going to depend on what gold is important for, right?
Yes.
So right now, gold's
Yes.
not really important for anything.
Right.
So if you get a little more gold from your items than someone else, it doesn't really matter. So
Yeah.
we have to see when we kind of put in those sinks and then figure out how all that works.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on today. I think everyone enjoyed it. Thank you guys for the great comments.
Thank you very
from Jay.
much.
And I'll clap. You guys can clap at
I'll see
home.
you guys on the forums.
Perfect. Steven, you can come in. Oh man! All right, so this is the next exciting reveal for you guys. You guys all know Steven Collins. He's our level designer.
Oh, yes.
Hey guys, Steven. Say hi.
Hey, everybody.
All right,
I'm
cool.
Steven.
So this is the first of many reveals over the coming weeks.
All right, first one.
We don't have a lot to show.
Right.
But I think it's just exciting just to announce it. So
Yep.
do you want to announce?
Well, I think the announcement is we have maps coming through.
Yes, we
Yes,
have
we have maps coming in.
So the next update will have maps. How many maps will there be?
Can I say that?
Yeah, you can
All right,
say.
we'll have 3 maps.
Yes, so
3 maps are coming out. There's 3 of them, and that's
the
about as much as I can tell you. There's 3 maps. And you'll
Yes.
get to play them, and they will be out eventually.
Yeah, so I'm making him hide some details. I apologize. We're peppering all the announcements out through the next couple of dev streams, so please watch in order to get them first. But yes, there will be 3 maps in
3.
the next update. 3. So I think how many maps are out right now? Is it 10?
10, I believe, are out right now. 10
Sounds-
maps, and then
so
3
that's
more
almost
come.
a third more maps than are in the game currently.
30% increase in maps.
Yes, so 30%. So
33.3 repeating.
No, it's 30 because we have 10.
Oh,
30, so yes,
33.
You're right.
30.
told there be no.
Oh wait.
I didn't expect math.
He's a level designer,
That's
not
right.
a mathematician. Perfect. So yes, so there'll be 3 new levels. If you guys have any questions in the comments about the 3 levels, we might answer some of them. We are going to be revealing them in the future. No, those are not the reveals peppered throughout each week.
right.
I think our thing is just that we want to actually wait for you guys to see the maps until closer to when the patch releases.
We don't want to reveal them too soon, and then you guys not get them.
Yeah,
that quickly. So.
Yeah, we were talking about them, and we were like, we could play them on the stream, but we were thinking that, you guys would,
Spoilers.
spoilers. You guys would more enjoy just to see kind of them briefly, right before the patch comes out, and then get to
Right.
play them for yourself instead of watching us play these maps for 3
And then we
days.
can play with you guys.
Yeah. So these maps are like, I think one of them is being worked on now.
Yes,
right?
one is
And-
currently going through.
Yes, and then the other 2 have been completed for a while, right?
Yes, those have been done for a little bit, but we want to
Yeah. Been
put
holding
all of
it.
them together. So
Yeah. So we've been kind of saying before that our goal is to, and if you guys have any questions, please ask us. Maybe we can tell them the theme of the maps.
can we?
Maybe.
I don't
if
know.
you guys ask enough, we might. At the end
If
of
you
the
ask
stream.
enough questions,
Yeah, we might.
we
tell
could
you the
say
theme
yes
of
or
the-
no.
Yeah. So yes, actually, that's a great idea. So we will say yes or no to the theme of the maps in the comments. So you guys can guess the
We
theme.
won't say what comment we said yes to. We'll say yes.
Yes, but we will say yes and no. So, is there anything else we want to kind of share about these maps in general now? Are they different from the current one in any ways? Or?
There's some differences, but we've taken some of the things that we know people have enjoyed for the past maps. Like a lot of people like the ice cart in town entrance,
Yeah.
but you don't get to see it a whole lot. It's one of those that encourages sort of the combo usage.
Yeah.
So a few of our new traps in these new maps will have a lot of combo usage.
No.
Are we saying no?
No. No.
They're gonna riot.
No. All
All right,
perfect.
so not on it yet. But yeah, the traps in these maps are sort of encouraging more combo usage, more sort of initiators for you to jump in and do things or have more of an impact as a hero when the traps go off. So
Cool, more combos. I think everyone will like that.
right.
So they're specific to the map. And I will say that personally, I think the second map from the set is just gorgeous.
The second one is
The second
pretty
one
nice.
is the looker.
The first one's not bad, but the second one's really good.
Yeah, I would agree there. So I think you all are going to really enjoy these maps. So yes, you do still have a while to wait, but I mean, I think you guys are going to be really excited to get these 3 maps out. It's kind of like getting a expansion for free. It's
Right,
like all of a sudden you
right.
have three new
Got
maps to
some
play
kind
through.
of new stuff to play around with. So.
Exactly. And this will kind of be our strategy throughout in the future. So like we've talked about it before, but we don't want to just kind of slowly release a map and then release
Right.
another map and then release another map. So even though Steven's like I don't know how many maps ahead he is. Pretty far ahead in maps. We're kind of waiting until we have new features, which we're going to reveal in the coming weeks and stuff, to release the new maps with, so they actually stay interesting to you guys instead of just releasing a new map and a new map and a new map.
Any good guesses?
No.
I don't see anything.
No. But no. And no. And no.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
Have they done any guessing about what
I mean, they can still guess.
What Rusty's
look and
doing
see.
here?
They kind of have figured out that it's a monk weapon.
Oh, okay.
So, and they know that it's for something called Betsy, but they don't know what Betsy is. But they know that Betsy is animated, and that Betsy has a model, and that it's something that's going to be in the game.
A lot of tips there.
Yes, that's a lot of tips.
I would expect you to guess it immediately.
So guys, we're going to be taking questions from the comments for the rest of the stream, and we're also going to be going over some questions for the forum. I do want to let everyone know, as kind of an announcement, that the Casters Guild members have been selected, and we will be announcing them on Monday. So thank you everyone who submitted for being a streamer for the game, for joining the Caster Guild. We're really, really excited to get this started. Josh is super excited to be working with all of you who are accepted, and just stay tuned Monday to find out who they are and when the first stream will be. And you'll be able to find that, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but on our channel here, so you can just tune into Trendy Int. I think we're starting Monday at 12:30. Josh will tell you guys when we're starting, but you'll be able to tune in here and watch them. And we really hope that you like these members of the community who are choosing to stream the game for you guys, and that you support them just like you come and tune in and watch us play, because that's how we will grow Dungeon Defenders, by growing the community.
So let's see. Oh, here we go. This is a great question. This is from Fear Makey, which is, I would like to request a stat summary at the end of the stage, be clear on who did what. I can't tell my damage from towers and other players. Having a player's name in the middle of stats would be good, or tables separating tower and players. So
the summary screen is definitely an old work in progress summary screen, and something that
very much a work in
very much so a
It's
work
like-
in progress.
Yeah.
But
the bars don't still go off it, do they?
I don't know if the bars still make it all the way across the area, but the summary screen definitely will have all those things, all the information that you want of who did what, and sort of have that sort of mentality that, okay, I could do this better next time, or maybe my towers did a lot of the work this time and I didn't need to do a whole lot. So you can have that information as you play it again, and see what, and hopefully see how other people are doing. So
yeah, perfect. I'm just keep looking. People are asking, is Betsy the real money storekeeper?
the real money storekeeper.
No.
It is not.
Okay, perfect. So all knows. That's great. No one's guessing it. That means we're really clever.
That's right.
And
We are super
yes.
clever because we haven't given you enough hints.
Yes, exactly. That's the best way to be clever.
Super clever.
Oh, so actually, before I wanted to go in the questions, I did want to give you guys some data about the influence system. We were kind of talking about it. So this is kind of just good numbers. It kind of shows you that not a lot of people are using the influence system right now. So I don't know if this will encourage you guys to use it, or to kind of tell your friends that they should be able to use it to help these votes go through. So right now there are 660,000 points in the economy. So about 500,000 points in the economy total. There's 126,000 players that have gotten points. There are an average of 5 points per person, which you can tell by math.
Math. More math.
There have been 161,000 points for players that are currently active in the community. So that means people who've kind of like logged onto the community site in the last, I think, week or two as a metric there. But that bucket of points is 160,000. And then there have been 60,000 votes cast so far. So technically, between all of you guys who keep logging on to the sites and stuff, I'm not sure what our exact vote is at right now. I think it's somewhere between 20 and 40,000 points. That's kind of on like par for the current vote total out of that 160,000. So it sounds like there's like another 120 or so. So we'll see where it goes. Please use your points, and we're really excited to see where this vote goes.
This past vote's been really interesting to look at. I know you guys were talking about it before I came on, but it's really fun to see everybody talking about it. Get on there, usually once a day, trying to see what new comments are posted about it.
So we have another comment from Fearmakey, which said that I remember from the first game, my team of players would design our strategy and builds from the stat summary screen. We'd focus on tower damage and then upgrades and other things like that we could see in that screen that told us to do better.
And so I think the answer to that is that screen is horrible. And
Yeah,
we're going to
that
make it
screen is
better.
definitely going to get better.
Yeah, so
having
yeah.
the stat screen display the information.
And I think, I'll just answer this for everyone so they can understand why. We still haven't got score into the game yet.
Right.
And when we're kind of looking at designing things, it's like, what's the point of designing the summary screen if we don't have score yet?
Right.
And there's so many pieces that we needed to do and a lot that we still need to do to get score in and then leaderboards that we just put as temp of an end screen as
Right.
we put in there, that just so something existed so you
Yeah.
can see how you did, that we would later revisit once we figure out what scores means. So perfect. So let's go through some questions. We have 20 minutes left. We have
Alright.
a lot more than 20
A lot
questions.
of questions.
So we'll see. We'll rapid fire some of these
Okay.
loud. See what we can do. So the first question is from Aussie Mark. They want to know. I think someone forgot to explain melee damage change in patch notes. Can you elaborate?
Unfortunately, that should have been asked to Jay.
Jay, yeah.
But I believe melee damage got a buff in the last patch.
I think actually sorry,
the auto
ranged auto attacks got a buff, and I think some melee auto attacks got a decrease.
Okay.
I do think that, and I want to apologize, guys, if we answer a question wrong. We're human.
Yeah.
Please don't fault us. This question is best asked for Jay because he's the
Yeah.
one who did this. So unfortunately, he's not here. But I do think that is in the patch notes. So if you take a look at the patch notes, I believe that it says exactly for each character class
How
the melee damage was increased or reduced. So if you guys take a look at that, should be able to find out. If you can't, please ask Josh in the
Right.
forums,
They'll
and
link
we'll
you
make
the-
sure
they'll
that we
link the
link you
patch
to
notes
where
too.
it is. All right, so the next question is from Bunny Cake. He wants to know, are we going to add new levels? Oh man, we just answered this one.
All right.
One by one to the current map theme with the same enemies, or are you planning to change the theme and enemies at the same time?
Currently, I don't think the plan is to change an enemy theme with the maps.
Yeah.
However, we are not releasing maps one by one. Obviously,
Yeah.
we've said that we have 3 new maps
Mhm.
coming in with the
Yeah, so that's a very
They roll
insightful
out.
question.
Right.
Thank you. Yes, we're releasing maps in sets, and the first set is going to have 3 new maps. So
3 new maps.
The idea will be is that like when we do an update with maps, you guys aren't just like, oh, I'll come back and play for 40 minutes and be
Right.
done. But you're like, oh, cool. There's like a lot of stuff to do. I can
Yep.
come back and play and do a lot of things. Bunny Cake also wants to know, what are you planning to have in the game? Oh, this is like a long question. Before release, and what have you planned to add after releasing the game? Or haven't you guys thought about it yet? Referring to the big list of future content. So I think the key there is, what do you mean by release? It's
Right.
kind of an ambiguous term for a digital game, right? We plan to have all those features that are listed on Steam in the game before we call the game done with early access.
Right.
Now, will we have them before we call the game beta? Probably have most of them. Those exact details we don't know yet, but that is the list of features that we're aiming to have that and plus more for our release. Now, the price of the game may obviously change independently of release since we're transitioning to free-to-play,
Right.
but it won't be like version 1 until we have all that stuff on the list. So the next question is, and guys, if you have questions from the comments, please ask away. Say, here's a question here from, and sorry I can't read your name because it's lime green on white. Are you planning on adding a feature to allow users the ability to compare items as if they weren't leveled up? Currently, it takes a minute
okay.
looking at each item to realize if it's an upgrade.
That's a good question. I'll have to forward that one over to the content. But I don't know if right now we have a plan.
Yeah, I don't think it's planned right now, but it's a really good suggestion,
Right.
and I think that if you can start a forum thread about that and CC Josh on, we can get Jay or Dan to take a look.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great question. It's something that's obviously pretty hard to account for and
Right.
accommodate, right? So, great. Okay, next question. The next question is from Gentle Dementia, who wants to know, what do you consider your biggest development priority for the game right now?
Me personally,
Yeah.
this last map. The last map that we wanted.
I think that's a lot of the team too. That has
Yeah.
that priority right now.
A lot of the team is sort of
Are you
pushing
gonna
this
lose
map
that
through.
blockade?
Blockade's
Oh, there you
going
got
down.
it.
But this last map is my biggest priority, and a lot of the team is helping out with this last one. It's a good sized map, so hopefully
I think everyone will like it.
everybody's gonna like it. So
Yeah.
that's my priority right now,
Yeah,
is getting that wrapped up.
So that's his priority, and a lot of the team. I think a lot of the rest of the team is working on pets right now. So we have some group working on this last map. We have some groups working on pets. There are groups of both of those people working on Betsy.
Right.
We're not going to say Betsy, as you can see here. Item related to the thing that is known as Betsy.
The thing that is known as Betsy.
Yes. So I think that's really where everyone is focused now. We also are obviously working on PS4.
Right.
We are, I think I hinted this in the past, working a bit on split screen now, although that's still a very long ways out. But the real focus is around this new map and pets.
Yep.
And yeah, costumes a little bit.
A little bit of costume.
A little bit of costumes. Okay, cool. I hope that answered your question in even more detail than you wanted. All right, I should have just gone through each person. I'm like,
That's right.
Well, Rusty's working on this right now. You can just share like the Jira.
That's right.
This Jira Snapchat. Okay, cool. So Gentle Dementia also wants to know what upcoming feature or content are you most looking forward to and why?
I think costumes and pets. I know Betsy is a big thing, and I know that's what I'm currently working on with the last map. And I think costumes is going to be something that really pushes that player customization visually to other players, and that's something that is really exciting coming up for me.
So what am I most looking forward to? Well, costumes is one of them. I'll give two. So costumes, and the reason is I played a little bit with the costumes that we have in now, and there's just such a great. It's funny that something that's so not gameplay affecting can feel so gameplay affecting.
Right.
Like, you know, just putting on some of the costumes and playing makes the game feel so fresh and new. It's just awesome. So I'm really excited for that. There's we're not revealing it yet, but we said that some stuff you can unlock with character customization and stuff, and just that reward of doing that stuff is really cool. So I'm really looking forward to that getting in the game, even just internally, so I can play with it myself besides entering debug commands in. And then also, not pets for me, although I am excited for pets, but actually this the spec node revamp that Jay and Dan are working on. We're going to reveal that next week, I think, and that's going to be a really exciting reveal. So all of you will want to be around for that. We might have another Microsoft Word presentation. I'm sorry if that bores you guys. I've left it up to Haddad to choose which way he wants to present that to you guys. But that is just really exciting to me, and I can't wait.
Just more and more customization.
Exactly, more and more customization, and that's what I think a lot of people ask for, and now we're getting to deliver on that. So that's really exciting.
Oh man, people are drooling about the costumes.
Oh yeah.
Will you guys sort the loot table so let's say 25 plus 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 doesn't drop level 23 or 24 gear no more?
So that's also a question for Jay and Dan, but I think that the answer to that is probably no. The point is that, you know, you do have to play on these later difficulties to find the good loot. So whether it's balanced right or not, it's probably not, and we probably have to do more balancing to it, but we're gonna try to avoid situations where there's like a content gap. So like sometimes in DD1 it would be like, oh, like all the items you found here were pretty much mutually exclusive to the items you'd find in like the next set of content.
Right.
So that you'd have to like grind super long to get the items and then jump. And the second you got in and could beat some, then you'd get a lot of items, then you'd go up for it. And I think that we're trying for a more progressive curve where you can jump between them. If I said anything wrong there, I deeply apologize, and you guys can feel free to correct me in the comments. So let's see here, we have from Furmaki, I would like to request 2 different map types. Oh, this is cool, we can talk about this. Okay, cool. So one is a suppression map type, split into a melee and air map, where the maps would be 100 yards long in a straight line with no obstacles in the way, and the design behind it would be with each wave and minimal leaks reward you with more resources to continue building your 100-yard-long arena of towers to counter the numerous waves, and after each 5 or 10 waves be rewarded with chests of unique items to help you push further in the special map type.
Alright, so basically it's a long football field.
Yeah, football field.
And you build a line.
Yes, and you build a line. And then you keep going, the enemies get harder and harder, and you get to keep making your line
stronger.
I think
DD1 had was it Rainbow Road or something
Rainbow
like
Road,
that?
Basically.
Was a similar game type there. I know we're doing stuff with game modes.
That's
and maybe getting that sort of feeling is definitely something that we want to sort of reward you for holding off a line, whether it's a straight map or you know, current maps that we have. It'll be up to how the game mode flows on those maps. So.
And I think one thing I'm kind of been pushing for, and I think Steven has been pushing for internally too, is maybe if you guys really demand it, we really need you guys to ask for this to make it happen. So if you guys are interested, we would love to find a way to provide you with like maps like test maps that are like earlier in development that are like cool ideas like that are just like a line. And for you guys to be like, oh man, it's Gridlock. Oh, he's
just got
crushed you. He's crushed. I think he's gonna crush that lane.
Yeah.
He's wave 5 man though. This will be the first time you've beaten 2 hard maps in one playthrough. See if you can
Get in there.
Yeah. So Josh died.
Where is he?
Down there.
Down there.
He's in that far lane.
Sorry, we paused the
got
question
it.
midway.
You got it.
I think they're good.
It's too exciting. Yeah, he's gonna wreck some more defenses. Oh, he's dead.
Oh, you got him.
Got him.
Awesome. Okay, saved. Okay, so now that like we can breathe
Panic
again.
moment, yeah.
So we'd love to try to find a way to provide maps like that to you guys. We've talked about maybe adding another category to the map
Right.
screen or something like that. So please, if that's something you guys are interested in, if that's something you guys have ideas for, go to the forums, tell us, and let us know, and that's something that we'll try to make happen. One of the things I like to comment there is like, one of the reasons why a lot of the maps feel similar is it is really expensive to make a map. So it's like when they work, we do small incremental changes as we make them instead of going to full production on something crazy. Usually we prototype something new for a long time. I think we've been prototyping a couple of things now, right?
Uh-huh.
And then when we decide it's fun, we go, okay, cool, let's make it into a full map.
Right.
And so that's something that we'd love to maybe share in the process with you guys.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, more questions. This question is from XRDX, who wants to know, how will pets be able to attack for players like me who aren't really ever in front of enemies with the Huntress?
Victory. So I'd read this question earlier and I was taking a look at it. So we have in DD1 they had pets, or I know DDE had pets that could do abilities or attack, or and I don't know if you had chosen a pet as a ranged character that had a short range attack. I don't think that would work as well. But maybe there will be different pets that maybe don't have an attack, but maybe do something different for you. So it's all about choosing the right pet for your situation, and hopefully it'll look cool as well. So
yeah. So I think we haven't done pets reveals yet, so I don't want to answer this question by revealing everything about pets. But I think it's safe to say that there will be pet choices that are more applicable to melee characters and pet choices that are more applicable to ranged characters. Sweet. Okay, next question. This one is also from XRDX, who wants to know, most defense games, they time you before the next wave pops up. Will there ever be a feature like this? Usually what comes with this is an extra bit of tower currency to help out slightly for building quickly, being confident that you can currently take on the next wave quicker. Since the build phase of DD2, everything is instant, there could be a time window in it where if players ready it before then, every player will get an extra bit of mana. It would greatly help onslaught mode, giving players a little bit extra in motivation to go faster.
I like that idea, actually. I like that. Sort of speeding up the round where, you hit ready up and you get a little bit of extra boost for taking less time. I think it's a cool idea. I think it's something that we were always open to prototyping new things, and maybe it's something we can look at trying out.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea. So we have another comment here also from Fermaki, who basically wants to know if we're ever going to do an alternative leveling system like a Paragon system. And I think the answer to that is yes. We don't know what it will be yet. We've talked about a prestige system on the site before. We've also considered a Paragon system. So there's certainly going to be some way where you guys can get infinite progress on, and we're going to figure that out. Let's see. So Ice Bound Legend. I love all these questions that directed at you. They know, they understand. I would like to request for a new game mode, which is that Infinity Survival, but one catch every 5 waves of monsters upgrade like our towers upgrade, and every 10 waves the boss shows up and gets harder each time.
All right, I think I know what you're saying. Have we talked about game modes?
We've kind of talked about onslaught mode and kind of the structure and what the reward. They're voting on what the rewards will be.
The rewards are
teamwork.
But I think we can say we understand that the idea of what that would present, and we're definitely looking forward to doing things similar. With
I think I don't know if it'll be a boss per se, but I think that idea of variety and the idea of mini bosses and kind of like getting progressively harder and challenging you guys are all ideas that are going into our onslaught mode. And I'm really glad all of you are super excited about it. It's like every question is about infinite survival mode, which I think is obviously really indicative of a tower defense game and the kind of games you guys like to play. So we are working on it, and I am excited for us to reveal more. As I said before, that's not coming out in the next patch, it's the patch after. But I do think we're going to try to find time to maybe show you guys it sooner rather than later.
This is another question from Mini Shady. Wants to know, are we planning on ever using maps from DD1? I would love to see some of them again.
I don't know if we're going to reuse maps from DD1. I know there's been discussions about locations from DD1, and the world is still the same. So maybe one day we could make a map that's similar,
same location,
same location, but maybe not the exact same map.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely something that we've thought about.
Yeah, so that's a really cool idea and something we've talked about a lot. So I'd love to see it in the future. I'd love to see them with an art update. That could be really fun. So it just depends.
I'd like to make a map where it's like right outside of a map that you can play in DD1.
You could look inside
and
the
see
map.
what's going on.
That'd be really cool. Okay, so the next question is from Nightblade46, who wants to know, will the DLC characters from DD1 make a reappearance?
I think the answer is not all heroes have been planned for DD2, but we know there's an expectation or a want for DLC characters from DD1 to make a reappearance. So
and we've answered before that the first heroes we were working on are not. I believe we're making new heroes, but we are open to and want to bring heroes back from DD1 too. But we also feel like you have all those heroes from DD1, and now we have recreated 4 heroes from DD1, and we want a chance to give you guys something a little new and fresh before we go back to recreate more heroes from DD1. The next question is also Nightblade46. He wants to know, will the new classes also have new weapons?
Possibly, yes. It depends on how their kit sort of rolls out. So if we have another, maybe we, instead of a squire, we have a knight hero. Obviously, he would be able to use squire's weapons.
So Fear Mackie wants to know, when will the use of controllers be enabled for you guys to test in the future? We have a PS4 team. We're going to talk more about PS4 in future dev streams. Josh and I are trying to figure out how to segment dev streams between PC talk and PS4 talk in the future, but that is all tied to that. I've actually seen some mock-ups now of controller UI stuff, which is really cool, so we are working on it. It will be in the future. We probably won't give you a date until we announce that it's coming out in the next patch.
Right.
Okay. And I don't want to mean that dismissively. It's just like
I think there's a workaround on this.
Yeah, there's a workaround. So if you guys want to use controller for the current kind of PC-centric UIs and stuff, you can. There's like XPatter, which you can download and use. But we said before, we want to get controller in. We need to get the HUD for controller in so that you can actually see what buttons you have to press to use your abilities. And we want to get the UI for controller in so you can control your inventory with the controller and not with mouse emulation. So working on all those things, and when they're ready and we have a good controller interface for you guys will get it.
We'll push it to you.
Yeah, we're excited. I personally play with controller a lot too, even though I think that I like DD2 on mouse and keyboard. Because I usually play loot games on mouse and keyboard. So for Dragon Age, I guess. Okay, anyways, I will digress from the games that I like to play that are loot games. Go to Shlomi8780's question. He wants to know, are you going to add or change class towers in the future?
Class tower. I know we were looking at, I don't know if we've discussed
hero revamps.
Hero revamps. So we're talking about revamping the heroes, and some towers here or there may alter for those heroes when we revamp them and have a better kit. So possibly. Can't reveal too much there.
Yeah, so it's something that we're looking at doing, and we've already revamped all the apprentices stuff. For those of you that have been around since the Defense Council days, where he was and where he is now, and he's a lot better than he used to be. So we're going to be doing the same thing for all the other heroes in the future. So with that, that's our last question from the forums. I'm going to take a couple more questions from the comments, and then we're going to go.
So this next question is Tachi Bonnie wants to know if Betsy is the kid in the throne room. No, but that should be his name.
His name is not Betsy.
So Ice Bundle Gent wants to request a new ability where we can take our towers and fuse them to make a new tower. Like Electro Orb could fuse with Earth Tower, and when an enemy everyone's
scrolling up.
When anyone would go into it, he'd be shocked, but mini Earthstone would come up and attack them. So basically, they want
DD2 to become Magicka. I don't say that in a bad way. It's a cool idea. I think that the kind of point of tower combos is exactly what you're getting at.
Right.
And in part of the hero revamps for the monk and the squire and the huntress is actually going through and adding more combos. And so the electric aura and the earth shatter tower doesn't do anything now, but maybe in the future when they change the patterns, maybe it won't be the electric aura, but maybe he'll have some kind of other aura that makes the earth shatter tower do something. Exactly.
So cool.
I think currently, right now, if you spec into Earth Shatter that knocks enemies up, you can also put a anti-air tower there to take them out too. So
We have a couple people are close on what Betsy is, but that's
So
all I'm
close.
going to say. They're close. No one's named the actual noun with which Betsy is yet, but people are definitely getting warmer instead of colder. So one last question. Because the answer to this question is yes. This question is from iPon Noobs 396, which is, will you ever allow players to upgrade their bags? Yes, we will. We just haven't gotten around to adding that feature yet. So with that, thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Next week we have a big reveal, so if you guys want to know what's in the next patch, tune in next week.